Hello there my Jedi and Sith friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It's so great to see you here again, whether you're listening from Naboo or Mustafar. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, as you've probably already guessed from the title of this one, we're talking about Darth Maul, but not in the usual context. Unfortunately, my friends, we don't have any updates for Maul Shadow Lord. Season 2 is coming at some point in 2027, but today, we're talking about some behind-the-scenes drama. And if you're familiar with the history of Maul, then you know that there's been a surprising amount of controversy surrounding some of the people who brought him to life. Not everyone, of course. When it comes to the likes of Sam Witwer, for instance, he's generally avoided public disputes. But when you talk about Ray Park or Peter Serafinowicz, for very, very different reasons, there's quite a bit of Star Wars history to unpack. And today we have some new comments from Peter himself, the voice of Maul in the Phantom Menace. But I do just need to say as a disclaimer, because I did mention his name, the Ray Park situation is very different and has nothing to do with this video. Other YouTubers have more eloquently spoken about his social media posts, the fact he's going through a number of difficult personal struggles, and I just want to say, I'm not going to touch that in this one. But someone we are going to talk about is the man who provided the voice of Maul in the Phantom Menace, Peter Serafinowicz, a very lovely, well-spoken guy by all accounts. And in case you don't know, my friends, even though he did the voice of the Zabrak Sith, he wasn't the actor on set. The physical body of Maul was the aforementioned Ray Park. So when it comes to the character's movements, stunts, lightsaber choreography, none of that was Peter. But he did provide the character's voice, delivering the lines that ultimately appeared in the finished film. And despite having a relatively small amount of dialogue, Peter's involvement with the characters led to some really unexpected controversies. Some of them with George Lucas, and some of them later with Disney. We'll come on to the latter in just a moment. But pretty much since the film released in '99, Peter has never shied away from expressing his true opinions of the film. He was never one of those Star Wars actors who became attached to the franchise. You talk about the likes of Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, they love Star Wars through and through. They love attending Star Wars Celebration, doing interviews, even appearing in several shows for goodness sake, but the same can't be said for the likes of Peter. He was one of those actors that was just there to do his job. He was contracted for several lines, he came in, recorded them, and he was done with it. But in the years that followed, his relationship with Star Wars got worse, because when it was time to go see the film he worked on, The Phantom Menace, he really didn't like it.
What the bloody hell was that?
But it should be said about Peter, he's a great sport. You get the impression, just like with Harrison Ford, that a lot of his so-called hatred towards Star Wars is just banter. A lot of it is very tongue-in-cheek. And I think part of this is due to the fact that Maul became one of the most popular Star Wars villains, something I don't think Peter ever expected, and you're gonna see why in just a moment. And his popularity kept growing with the Clone Wars, Rebels, now Maul Shadow Lord, but did you know, it's one of Peter's biggest regrets. The big headline making the rounds today, Peter Serafinowicz doesn't like the Phantom Menace, he doesn't like Darth Maul, and he's still not happy about a certain interaction with George Lucas. This comes to us from Variety.com, and they say this. In a recent episode of the Classic Clown podcast, Peter Serafinowicz looked back at his brief stint voicing Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace. And here's the new quote. He says, "It was weird. This character, Darth Maul, I don't know what I thought. The design of it, I wasn't that into it. And when I saw the film, it was the biggest disappointment of my life at that point. It really was. I mean, have you seen it? It was so exciting that even being in it, doing this thing, what I thought would be this iconic thing, just unimaginable. I guess it sort of is iconic, I suppose." Now, as a prequel girl, this breaks my heart. Come on, Peter. It wasn't that bad. I know he admits that Darth Maul is iconic at this point, but he certainly didn't think that at the time. That's pretty crazy to me, because even his generation of fans, those who saw the original trilogy in cinemas, who were looking forward to The Phantom Menace but were pretty disappointed by it, concede that Darth Maul's design is pretty badass, but I guess he wasn't into it. And as I teased earlier, there is a reason he's very salty. And it isn't just the fact that, as he says in this interview, he wasn't paid enough by George Lucas. It's based on the way he was treated in 2018 during the making of Solo: A Star Wars Story. So as we all know, the big surprise of the movie is Maul being the leader of Crimson Dawn. Shadow Lord Season 2 is going to expand on this, build up to Solo, but in 2018, that was something very few fans saw coming. And what was even more exciting at the time is that Ray Park returned to portray the character physically. But in terms of the voice, this is where there is a lot of controversy, and I have to say, I side with Peter on this. My personal opinion is that Disney and Lucasfilm did him dirty. The lowdown is this: Peter is asked to come back. He records all his lines of dialogue, everything goes smoothly, and then just before the premiere, so very last minute, he's informed that his lines of dialogue have been re-recorded by Sam. And their reasoning is that they wanted the continuity to be consistent. Because it's Sam's voice in Rebels and the Clone Wars, they wanted everything to match. But for a while, Peter says he was pretty upset about this. And it's more the way they unceremoniously told him very last minute. But I bring up this story to demonstrate that his saltiness, his level of dislike of the character, goes deeper than just his experience in the Phantom Menace. And about that, Peter now says this: James Earl Jones, so Darth Vader, had the best voice of any human ever. Then suddenly, there I was with George Lucas ready to make episode 1, and he told me, Peter, you're the new James Earl Jones. Darth Maul is the new Darth Vader. And I said, f***ing hell, am I? Then why are you paying me such awful money, George? I did redact one of the swears in there, Peter just being Peter and like I say very tongue-in-cheek, but unlike the fans back in 1999, he didn't buy into any of the hype. Even though I don't agree with him with a lot of his takes, he will always be part of the Star Wars family, and he's about to join another huge franchise. He's going to play Peeves the Poltergeist in the Harry Potter TV show. I mean, I don't know if it's just my prequel brain, but I don't understand why anyone could dislike the character of Maul. Forget just the villain aspect, he's one of the coolest aliens in all of fiction. When I was a kid watching episode 1, I was both intrigued but terrified by that striking face. Not to mention that awesome, saga-changing double blade. And I know some of you guys, my wonderful audience, are original trilogy fans, but you guys have to admit, that was the best part of episode 1, Duel of the Fates, seeing Darth Maul fighting Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And to this day, Maul remains iconic. Bring on Shadow Lord Season 2. And I should just say, my friends, for a box office flop, the legacy of Solo: A Star Wars Story lives on. And it's pretty wide-ranging, from the Kira comics, to a video game, the Lando movie which is a Solo spin-off, if Dave Filoni's still gonna make it, and Maul Shadow Lord. So many elements of that film are still being fleshed out. Dryden Voss, Rio Durand, whose cousin was in The Mandalorian and Grogu. But what do you guys think? What do you think of this whole saga with Peter Serafinowicz? Do you agree with his comments, or do you think he's wrong about this? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.